just to top it all off, former X Factor winner Joe McElderry joins me in the studio. Hello, Joe.
Good. Is it morning still? Yes, it's morning.
Just about. We're hanging in there with the morning. Yes. Welcome back to Brighton. How's Joe McElderry today?
I'm fabulous. The sun's shining. It's great. Yeah, I'm really good. It's great to be back in Brighton.
And you're playing Joseph in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoats at Brighton this week.
Yeah. It's great fun, it's brilliant. It's been a while since I've been in Brighton. The last time I was here was with my tour, probably in about 2012 or 11. So it's been quite a while.
Yeah, and other times you've been here, you must have been on the X Factor tour when you won
We did about
show.
5 nights here, I think, on the X Factor tour.
Did you really?
Yeah, and then I came with my tour, and Brighton Pride I did as well. I headlined that a couple of years ago, which was amazing. That was so much fun.
That's what I remember that. Yes, it's in the big park, the middle of town is in Preston Park.
Fabulous, such a great audience there.
Good stuff. Tell me about playing Joseph in this show. Is that as hard work as it sounds? Because I guess you're on the stage quite a lot.
Yeah, we do 10 shows a week. Yeah, we do 2 every day, Tuesday to Friday. And we do 3 on a Saturday, which is it's like a marathon.
That is, because you must start early in the morning.
Well, I was just talking about it to somebody yesterday. They said, you must go out all the time and, party and everything. I said, you can't. With 10 shows a week, you get to a Friday and you think, it's nearly the weekend. But still on the Friday, you still have 5 shows to go before the end of the week. So it's quite psychological in the sense of that you think you've only got 2 days left. But, it's a heavy schedule. But the audiences are amazing. And they're all up singing and dancing and all of that, and that gets you through it all. And the show's great. The music's fabulous. It's just a really great feel-good show.
And the reason they can work you hard and do 10 shows a week is because there's obviously the demand there. Because otherwise they wouldn't put on that many shows.
Yeah.
Otherwise you'd be knocking around there on your own.
Yeah, it's a compliment, really. It's great that a musical that it has been around for so long, that they can still pack out the houses with that many audiences. It's incredible.
What do you reckon? Is it 40 years old, this musical? When did it start?
I think it's nearly 50 years old.
Is it really? Yeah.
I'm sure it's
one of the early Andrew Lloyd Webber ones.
It's the 50th anniversary next year, I think.
Right.
I think.
But it's certainly in that range, isn't it?
Yes.
So there's got to be something to keep people coming back to it. And what are just remind us of some of the songs that are in the show.
Well, you've got Close Every Door, Any Dream Will Do, kind of the stable ones that everybody knows.
Yeah.
What else have we got? Pharaoh's Story, which the narrator sings. The great thing about the show is, and then you've got obviously all the Elvis stuff, like the kind of homage to Elvis, which in our show there's a guy, Emilianos, he plays the Pharaoh, and he's brilliant. And he does a fabulous Elvis impersonation, which is just fantastic.
So suddenly the Pharaoh breaks out in a bit of Elvis.
It's fabulous. It's fabulous. You can see people kind of thinking, where's this come from? But I'm told that it was originally because Tim Rice and Andrew Lloyd Webber were kind of huge Elvis fans, I think. And I think that's kind of where it came from. And as the show's gone on, it's kind of been hammed up to more of a kind of Elvis impersonation. But it's fantastic. It's such a funny part of the show.
And I'd imagine the audience respond to that because they know all the songs.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. The thing about this show is I think people have such a kind of sense of nostalgia with it, because it's everybody's first musical almost at school. It's the first show that they were ever a part of. That's kind of the general feeling I get from people. So when it starts and we're obviously on stage, you can see people kind of they just relax watching the show. It takes them back, I think, to a place where maybe when they were a child, that innocence or something, and you can see them almost and just it brings back a lot of memories for people, I think.
Is it like a Rocky Horror Show where people join in or get up and dance?
100%, yeah.
Right, okay.
We'll do a huge medley at the end of the show, which is, it kind of recaps all of the songs in a 15-minute medley.
Greatest hits.
Yeah, and everybody goes absolutely mental for it. They're up on their feet, screaming, singing, dancing. It turns into a bit of a pop concert at the end, which for me is great, because it kind of feels like a home from home, which is nice. And at that point, we've kind of gone into a whole different part of the show. I can kind of get the audience going a little bit and have a bit of a connection with them kind of outside of the character, which is lovely.
Okay, so you're on almost familiar territory there.
Yeah, it's nice. And I think with this show as well, there is a lot of moments in it that involve the audience in the show. So it's a really nice feeling. You feel like you're kind of connected with the audience throughout. There's a few moments in the show where the audience can kind of join in, and there's a few jokes where you're kind of looking at them for the laugh, and it's a wonderful show. I've really enjoyed it.
Who else has played Joseph over the years?
I think, well, Philip Schofield, Jason Donovan, Donny Osmond. Who else? There's been loads of people that have
Joe
done it.
McElderry.
Yeah, I've done it.
Don't forget to put him in there. That's quite a list. That's right, because when Phil Schofield went
Lee Mead, obviously, Lee Mead did it as well.
Oh, yeah. When Phil did it, that was quite a departure for him, because he'd been a sort of children's TV presenter, essentially, before that. And people were going, really? Phil Schofield, Joseph? And he was amazing in it, I'm told. I didn't see him in it.
Yeah, I think he was. I mean, I've never seen him in it either, but I think that... The thing I felt for this show is obviously very famous people have played the role before and are loved for doing it, you know, or remembered for doing it as well. I didn't want to do the role and everybody be like, oh God, he's not very good. So I did feel the pressure a little bit.
In fairness, they wouldn't have cast you if they didn't think you were any good. They're not setting you up to fail, Joe. They want it to be a huge rocking success.
Yeah, but you take these kind of pressures on when you when you see you're going to be a part of such an iconic show like this.
Yeah.
You know, you do certainly feel the pressure with it. You want to do a good job with it, you know, and you don't want people to leave saying that you were bad. But we've been very fortunate that people have enjoyed it and people haven't thought I was too bad. So that's not all positive.
Okay, so where are we? Wednesday. So you've got a matinee this afternoon at 2:30, an evening performance. Same tomorrow. Got 2 shows on Friday. I'm looking at your Saturday schedule: 2 p.m, 5 p.m, 8 p.m.
Yes.
You're right. That is a marathon.
Yeah, it is.
If you can run a marathon quicker,
you probably
could do those 3 shows back to back.
You probably could.
That's a day's work.
We start the first one, and in between each one we'll have about 30 minutes turnaround, and it's straight back on for the next one.
Is that physically exhausting by the end of the day?
I find it's not as... It sounds worse than it is. Everybody goes, oh my God. But actually, it flies by. It goes really fast. The problem you do have is, mentally, for the rest of the week, you've been doing 2 shows a day. So you do the 2 shows a day and you kind of start to go, okay, can chill out now. And then before you know it, you're back on stage again.
And it's your big Saturday night.
Yeah, and you think, I've done all of this before, and your brain starts tricking. You've really, really got to concentrate. It's a bit of it psychs you out a little bit.
Okay, that's interesting. Right, so it's a 3-show Saturday. Yes. I wanted to touch on X Factor with you if I could while you're here, Joe. Which year was it that you won it?
2009.
Wow, the years do whiz by, don't they?
Yeah,
that's 7 years
nearly
ago
7 years. It'll be 7 years in December, I think.
Yeah, when this year's show comes up. And who else was in the competition that you beat that year?
Ollie Mers, Stacey Solomon, Jedward. Yeah, we had a really good year.
That's vintage. See, some of the X Factors, I think, recently have become a bit forgettable.
Yeah, we had a really good year. It was a really good bunch of people, and obviously everybody's been lucky enough to go on to amazing things, which has been nice, you know. The thing about the show is it's a wonderful platform, you know.
That's the thing.
It's a wonderful platform.
Because they're looking for the X Factor, which is not necessarily somebody who's going to be making chart records for the next 20 years, but it's launched your careers, which
it's been fabulous.
I think it's probably the least you could, you could hope for when you go into the show, isn't it?
I think people put too much pressure on X Factor for kind of sustaining people's careers, and you know there is a whole other business that goes on behind the scenes that, you know, the general public probably don't understand and don't have to understand. You know, that's not part of their kind of enjoyment in music. They have to enjoy it, to have to understand that that's part of our jobs as the performers, and kind of, I suppose, if you call yourself a businessman or whatever. But you know, I think it's just, if you just treat it as a wonderful platform and you're prepared to put the hard work in and the hours in, and kind of have your wits about you and be sensible, it can be a wonderful thing. You know, it's been a fantastic thing for me. 7 years down the line, I'm still doing wonderful things and doing things that I never expected I would be doing, you know, and probably wouldn't be doing without the platform of that show. So I've always been very thankful to the show for that.
Tell me about the adjustment in your life to winning that and having the career that you wanted, but perhaps, you know, it might have taken longer if you hadn't gone on X Factor. How did that affect your life in I don't know, good and bad ways, Joe?
Do you know what it is? It was one of the best experiences of my life. It probably will be one of the highest points of my life. It was incredible.
Yeah.
At the same time, my life literally changed overnight. Literally, you know, from 1 minute, you're a normal person that's going to college and performing. I was studying performing arts.
And how old were you?
I was 17, turning 18.
Right.
And then you go on a show like that, and all of a sudden, everybody knows who you are. Like, all over the country. that in itself is a huge life adjustment. Whether people think it's like, oh, well, you're famous, that's fantastic, it's brilliant. It's a huge life adjustment.
What are some of the drawbacks of that then?
Well, I wouldn't even say it's a negative thing. I just think having everybody know every single part of your life and business, and having no control over people talking about your life in the papers and talking about family members and all of that's a huge adjustment, for a family, never mind just me who was just doing the job.
So do you feel bad for kind of imposing that on the rest of your family in a way?
At points I was kind of like, sorry, when because the press are really heavily involved in the show, and obviously kind of buy into that whole thing.
Yeah, because there's an X Factor story in the papers every day.
When the show comes on, there's an X Factor story, and it flies off the shelves. Obviously, it sells papers, whatever. But there was points I was like, I'm sorry, like I'm not controlling this, But
how do you square that in your own mind, though? So if people are saying things about you in the press which you can never get back that aren't necessarily true, how do you not let that affect you?
Well, I think you have to be very realistic about it. You can't kind of sit there and be like, at first, in the first couple of weeks, it really kind of stresses out. And then I got to a point where I thought, if you let this, it would ruin your life. And I got to a point where I was just like, I'm just going to do what I do, and I'm going to have fun and enjoy the job that I'm very, very lucky to do. And I've took that attitude for many years now, and it's the best way. Just try to kind of let it sit in the background and concentrate on doing your job properly.
Especially at that age, if you're 17, 18, 19 years old. I mean, we like to think we're very grown up. We've still got an awful lot to learn at that stage.
I was so young,
really?
And I thought I was really mature.
Yeah.
I thought I was really mature 2 years ago, and then I look now and I think, oh, I wasn't really. I think that happens as you grow up, doesn't it? You kind of
it carries on, by the way.
Well, yeah, but 2 years goes by and you do change a lot. I think even in the space of 6 months as well. But I kind of I was very lucky. I had a very great mum and dad that kind of kept me head screwed on. My mum came out on the road with us for the whole first year after winning X Factor, and like that was a saviour. It was great. She was my eyes and ears, and she was the Rottweiler stood behind us and was like, "That's my son. You're not gonna,
Did she cramp your style or
no? Not at all. We're very, very close, and I'm so thankful that I had her there, because I think she's probably one of the reasons why I still have a career 7 years down the line, because she was very firm in business meetings and things like that, and she really fought me corner, and said things that as an 18-year-old found really difficult to sit in a meeting room and say, and like now I would have no problem doing that, but then I was still learning about the industry.
What's Mum doing now? Is she still working for you?
She still comes out on the road with me. Yeah, she still comes all over the place. She's great.
Terrific. Listen, thank you for sparing us some time today. I'll let you get on your way, because what time are you on? You're on at
it's nearly
2:30, so you start making your way down there, putting on the coat and all of that.
And the loincloth.
There is that, I suppose, yes. I'm sure that's been noted by many people.
Oh, yes.
Great. Joe McElderry, thanks for coming in this one. Nice to see you.
Us.
Thanks very much. Joe McElderry in Joseph and the amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat continuing this week until Saturday at the Theatre Royal Brighton.
Breakfast with Neil Pringle.